Calexico, California, population 39,000, is surrounded on three sides by fields of lettuce, broccoli, and alfalfa. On the fourth side, the city butts up against the U.S.-Mexico border fence, and the city of Mexicali on the other side. You're more likely to hear Spanish than English on the streets of Calexico's downtown shopping district. It's the kind of town where everybody knows everybody and everybody's business.
Calexico Police Department is raided by the FBI.
But many locals said they were surprised when the FBI paid a visit to the police department in late October.
It was around 9:45 that 30 FBI agents raided the Calexico Police Department. They seized computer hard drives, documents, and other potential evidence as part of an ongoing investigation into potential criminal activity by some members of the department. The big question is why.
4 cops were put on administrative leave pending the outcome of the investigation. One of them was fired shortly before Christmas. The FBI won't comment except to say that the investigation is ongoing. But Calexico Police Chief Michael Bostic speaks openly about some of the things he's found wrong with the department since he took over in October. He says leaders of the Calexico Police Officers Association, that's the union, were, quote, acting like the mob, unquote, intimidating good cops and threatening residents who presented complaints about officers. Calexico's former police chief was fired and Bostic appointed just 2 weeks before the FBI showed up. Bostic is a former assistant chief from the Los Angeles Police Department, and he's made a name for himself doing internal cleanups after police scandals, namely the Rodney King beating and the Rampart corruption scandal. Bostic says when he got to the Calexico PD, he found almost no real police work going on.
I have an investigation unit, the former investigation unit, that was investigating no crimes, told me they had no narcotics investigations going on. They were also responsible for the internal affairs investigations, and they didn't know where any of those were. Well, it turns out they weren't going on. They were putting them in desk drawers and putting them away and hiding them, hoping the statutes run. You know, I know how the game is played. I've been a cop for 4 decades.
Bostic also says leaders in the police department used around $100,000 in seized assets to purchase high-tech tools for breaking into cars and buildings.
So I have all these tools and everything that have obviously been used because they're new, but they're worn, and yet I have no search warrants.
He says whatever they were doing with that equipment, it wasn't legal. They also bought James Bond-like surveillance equipment, like hidden eyeglass cameras.
I literally cannot think of any legitimate reason why a department the size of Calexico would have that kind of equipment. And then when the FBI is going through that equipment and starts looking in the recording, they're recording city council members. And they're using it for extortion. I can say that. That's just true. That's what they were doing.
Bostic says leaders of the police officers union are behind all of this. He says he doesn't yet know exactly why they were doing it, but at the heart it was all about gaining power. Union leaders wouldn't comment for this story, but their lawyer, Michael McGill, says they plan to sue the police chief for slander.
There just is no factual support for some of the allegations that he's made. The whole thing just sort of stinks of a political issue.
Is there now any other further discussion?
McGill suggests that several Calexico City Council members have misled the new police chief into believing there's misconduct among his officers. He says he thinks these council members are retaliating against leaders of the police union for actively campaigning against them for many years. Relations between the Police Officers Association and certain city council members have definitely been hostile. Case in point, this banner put up by the union during last year's campaign season calling Councilwoman Maritza Hurtado a biohazard. Hurtado was reelected. Other city council members, including Luis Castro, are accused by Police Chief Bostic of being part of the police union's alleged extortion racket. Castro says the accusation is false. He says, yes, he's friends with a lot of police officers because he's lived in Calexico for 43 years. He thinks the police union leaders haven't done anything wrong. He says the city manager and police chief are exposing the city to years of litigation.
They are innocents. I believe Richard Warren and Michael Bostic, they are creating lawsuits against the city of Calexico.
In the community, feelings are mixed on the police scandal. George Romandia is a manager at a downtown department store.
I suspect if they find something, it won't be anything too diabolical. I mean, maybe they'll find some procedures that aren't too good, or maybe they violated some rules of conduct, but I doubt it'll be anything serious.
Others say it was high time for a cleanup.
There's been a lot of, if not illegal, certainly unethical behavior by the police. They bully other members of the police force, and they bullied citizens. They try to intimidate the city council. I think heads are going to rule.
Police Chief Bostic says he'll release results of an internal audit of the police department this month. The FBI has given no timeline on when it expects to conclude its investigation. Jill Replogle, KPBS News.